going on, guys? It's Zed for me, and today it is a brisk 9 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. I'm going to school right now, nice and early, and I thought I'd talk about if the Z4 can be your only car. I don't know if you can see outside right now, but it is extremely cold. There's snow everywhere. From 2 weeks ago, we had a big snowstorm, and finally the road has begun to clear up. So it's been about 3 weeks since I've driven my car. Past 2 weeks I haven't been able to even get my car out of my driveway because there's a patch of ice on the bottom of my driveway that was pretty much impossible to get rid of. So, too long didn't read kind of thing. No, the Z4 can't be your only car if you live somewhere that gets a decent amount of snow like New York. That brings me to the question, if you're comparing a car like the Z4 to a WRX, which car is better? And for me, when I was looking for a car last year, as some of you watched my earlier video log, I said that I was basically going to get the Z4 or the WRX. And so the day that the Z4 and the WRX was coming to my house, essentially I looked at the Z4 first. And I looked at it, and my decision basically came down to, do I need a car that can do everything all the time? And some of the payoffs would be in gas mileage, or do I want a fun car that is rear-wheel drive and is something that I will probably not be able to get in the future? So when I was down between the Z4 and the WRX seemed like the best workhorse. It was able to get me anywhere, including the wintertime in the snow. And getting the Z4 was a trade-off in the sense that I was basically going to be stuck not driving it some days out of the year. And for me, the trade-off was worth it. I ended up getting the Z4. If you watch my earlier video log, I got it for a better price, about $2,000 less, about $2,500 less than I would have gotten the WRX for. Now, is the Z4 better than the WRX? No, I don't think it is. I don't think the Z4 is better than the WRX. I also don't think the WRX is better than the Z4. I think that they're built for different purposes. If you can understand that the Z4 and the WRX are made for different purposes, and therefore each of them can be better for certain circumstances, then you're already ahead of 50% of the people who are watching this video, because most people are WRX fanboys who will basically say this WRX is better than any other car, etc., etc., etc. The WRX does have its virtues, and so does the Z4. For example, there's a lot of creature comforts, obviously, that the Z4 will have because it's a BMW that the WRX just doesn't have. And what you give up is a little bit of the performance. Obviously, with creature comforts comes things that have weight associated with them, right? Heated seats, 10-way power adjustable seats. These are the things that you don't get in the WRX, but then again, someone who's buying a WRX is not necessarily looking for these creature comforts, right? So in my humble opinion, I really believe that the WRX and Z4 are not cars that necessarily can be compared like one is better than the other, but it all really comes down to your preference. Some people really want that racer boy, that pure performance. I'll give up some creature comforts for performance, and some people would say, I'd rather have something that I can enjoy, that is more comfortable, as well as just a little bit more gadgets and stuff that come with the car. So all you WRX fanboys out there, yeah, you guys are fanboys of a great car, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you got to realize that the more mature you get, the less you may need that kind of racer boy feeling. So the Z4 and WRX that I was comparing between buying wasn't a new WRX. It was a 2006 WRX, the Hawkeye generation, and it was compared to this 2003 BMW Z4. I obviously went with this BMW Z4 and not the WRX, and a lot of people are gonna say that I made the wrong decision, but I did have other cars that I could drive in the wintertime. You know, I do have a Dodge pickup that I can drive. I have a 2011 Tiguan that my fiance owns that I can drive. And so basically I didn't need a car that can be driven year-round. I was able to live with something that was just for pure enjoyment. You know, it's been, like I said, it's been 3 weeks since I've had this car, and the feeling of getting back in this car was amazing. You know, I really missed driving a manual car. I really missed the characteristics of this car that I was missing when I was driving other vehicles around during this time. And you know, part of the reason that a lot of people get cars is for enjoyment, you know, what they like. Would I be happy if I was in a WRX driving around every day? Sure, I would be happy. But that doesn't mean that all other cars pale or fail in comparison to a WRX just because it's fanboyed. Now comes the question, would I ever buy a WRX? And yeah, you know, I would buy a WRX, and specifically I would probably get 2011 to 2014 STI hatch. That's something that I've always wanted, and it was something that I was thinking about getting before I got into the Z4 as well. Before you knock down any other car, I think it's really important that you actually sit in one and drive it, because there's cars that I thought I would really love and I ended up not liking as much. For example, the Volkswagen GTI. You know, that was a car that I really liked from watching YouTube videos, but once I got in one and drove it, it wasn't something that impressed me as much as what I felt like YouTube videos were giving it credit for. Vice versa, there are cars that I really looked down on, and then after sitting in one and driving them, I was like, wow, there's really something good going on here. So there's really no comparison for actually getting in cars and experiencing them for yourselves. And I know a lot of people who comment on YouTube videos who dislike videos because, you know, someone picked something other than the WRX, are people who aren't even old enough to drive. So what can you do other than watch YouTube videos in order to decide what car you're going to like? First thing that you should do is probably stop commenting on videos with ignorant comments. The car world is definitely a place that's full of hate, and it could definitely do without people being keyboard warriors telling others that the WRX is the best car, or the S2000 is the best car, or the GTR is the best car. You've got to realize that there are just some cars that are built for different purposes, and certain cars will be better for certain situations. Bottom line though, with the Z4, it's not a car that you can drive year-round wherever there's snow. You're going to need a secondary vehicle in order to get around, because there's simply no way to get around in the amount of snow that we get here in New York. That being said, a good set of winter tires is probably going to be good for your car, no matter what kind of car you drive. But it really makes a big difference having winter tires on a rear-wheel drive vehicle like this one. Okay guys, that's it from me today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and definitely subscribe for more videos. Thanks guys.